I've always found it's a good idea once you get a room cleared and you're about to start a project, just go over the room and make sure all the details are in place, and just kind of formulate a plan what you're going to do and how you plan to execute things. I've got all my power coming into my room. I got 3 root lines coming in on this side, and they all have to transfer across to various places now. I've got so many sockets planned for this room, and then everything else carries on into the next room, and that's all been planned in advance, so that'll go actually fairly quickly doing that electrical work. It's just a matter of roughing in a few lines here and there, and the framing, I've got 2 exposed cement walls here now, and with these walls, we're just basically floor to ceiling framing, and that will go rather quickly because it's just a matter of a few 2x4s and slap them together, and up we go. Do some insulating, do some electrical work, do some insulating, and then some drywalling. It pays to plan in advance. I've got a big loop of extra wire up here for the cable technician. In that corner we're going to be putting a connector box so he can splice these 2 cables together. And what else do we plan to do here now? I've got the air circulator in this room. The air circulator for the house is in here, so we're going to have to drywall around that. Again, we'll be doing the suspended ceiling like we did in the office. I've got a little bit more of the old roofing material that I plan to employ. I've got as well, part of this renovation, I've got the bathroom on the other side that's available just through that hole in the wall there, and we'll be continuing on with that project as well. We're kind of doing the 2 of them simultaneously since they share this utility wall here with all the pipes and electrical and everything in it. I figured it should be easy to do the 2 projects at once. And one thing we're going to have to do, that door there's a little too low. It's already catching on the styrofoam down there. By the time I add another 3/4 of an inch for my floor, well, it's never going to come open. So we're going to have to trim the bottom of that door probably at least an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, figure out what we need to do. And a little bit of heat duct work. When I put the heat duct in for the office, I put a T down at the bottom there. And what I like to do with all my heat ducts in the basement, I like to tee them off the main vent there and bring them down in the wall using the square tubing, and then do my heat distribution off the floor. That way, all your heat rises, and you've got the warm air blowing into the room, and it keeps it all nice and toasty, rather than typically in the basement a lot of people just do it from overhead. They blow heat from the ceiling, and you've got your heat stays up by the ceiling. This way at least gets your heat down to the floor. Over here I've got this why aren't we focusing? There we go. Over here I've got this vent here. We're going to carry it through the joist here, And we're gonna bring it through the framing on the other side of the room, and again we're gonna bring it down to the floor. And this corner I have to remember to pay attention to. Anybody who watched the office video will remember this corner. This is the corner, well, the other side of the wall is where the supporting wall was out by about 1.25 inches by the time we got to the ceiling. So when I do my framing on my wall, I'm going to have to make adjustments for that on this side. Well, besides doing your pre-planning and stuff like that, it also gives you a chance to inspect the location for any potential problems that you might have. Now, one thing I did notice when doing the inspection here, I notice I've got a crack that's running up all the way up the height of the wall here from the right from the window. Actually even goes above the window. So this has been a major heave here in the foundation. It goes right from above the window. Now that window's been replaced already. I did that a few years back. I've done little odds and ends on this room over the years, basically intending to do this renovation eventually. So everything should just fall into place now. But this crack goes all the way down to the floor. Now, one thing you do want to, whenever you see a crack like this, you want to take the time to have a real close look at it. Make sure you're not bringing in any moisture. Now, this one here, unfortunately, it looks like we do in fact actually have a moisture issue with it. So we're going to have to go get ourselves an injection repair kit. And basically what we're going to do with that, we're going to drill a series of holes and we're going to fill that crack with epoxy. And then we're going to cover that over. And that'll make the concrete like new and be impermeable to water. Another thing I've got here, I've got a crack along the edge of the floor here where the floor meets the wall. Just trying to decide now if that's actually water that's been wicking up there a bit, or if it's just the way things are. Lots of times that they'll, because they pour the floor over the footing, sometimes there'll be a little bit of gap, like when things settle and separate, you might get a little tiny gap, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It may or may not be leaking here, but again, a close inspection is going to have to be done to make sure that there's no signs of water damage along that space where the floor is separated from the wall. And if there is, we're going to have to take steps to seal that as well. We've also got a little crack running across the floor here. We'll just widen that up and patch it as well while we're doing everything else here. Okay, if we look at this wall here, we can see where there's obvious signs of water penetration. You can see the streaks running down the wall there, and the dirt that's been brought in. It's clear that at some point in time, although it's not active at the moment, at some point in time, water has obviously been coming through this crack here. So it's obviously this crack does need to be addressed before we can do anything with this room. Another thing you want to look for is stuff like here. We've got some bubbled paint here on the wall. and that again is from moisture penetration. Not entirely certain where that is coming from, but I'm thinking it's probably the most obvious spot is from that crack that runs just along the edge of the wall here. That's where the pad actually was poured over the footing, and we've got about 1/8 of an inch gap there, maybe about 1/4 of an inch in places where that has separated over time, just with the house shifting and moving and stuff. So that does give a place where water can penetrate into the room as well. So we're gonna take care of that as well. But that's pretty much what we're up against with this project. With any project that's of this significant size, it's always good to just take a few minutes and sit back and have a good look at it, and just decide what you're going to do, spot any potential issues, and make a plan of attack. Anyways, Pat the Backyard Builder signing off for now, and you have yourself a good day. We'll catch you later in these renovations.